I want to spend a few minutes today to talk about cash. You've probably heard the expression cash is king. That's true in two senses. The claims, the debt and equity claims in finance, are valued based on their expected cash flow. Secondly, in times of difficulty, a company without sufficient cash balances may face bankruptcy. A cash flow is a cash payment into or out of a company. Typically, cash flows occur over a period of time. A cash stock or a cash position is a balance of cash that is held in the bank accounts of a company. A cash stock is the amount of cash available at an instant of time. Cash stock is a use of financing. So clearly I've just introduced two concepts. The first concept was a cash flow concept, and the second was a cash stock. I introduced the managerial balance sheet. One of the 6 parts of the managerial balance sheet was cash. We can think of a cash flow as a change in cash balances from the beginning of the year, which I'll call year 0, at time 0, the balance of cash at time 0, and that would change to a balance at the end of the year, and I'll call that C1. So the change from C0 to C1 is the cash flow. And clearly cash flow comes partly from operating income. But cash flow is not the same as operating income. Cash flow is greater than operating income to the extent that we have positive depreciation and amortization that reduce income relative to cash flow. Operating cash flow is also different from operating income to the extent that our payables and our receivables and our inventories and other parts of the working capital requirement change. Clearly, if our working capital requirement increases, as it seems to do here, from to here, that increase must be financed. If the sources of financing remain exactly the same, then it must be financed by changes in cash balances. Cash flow from operations is part of the overall change in cash, but other items change the cash balance as well. Among them are the changes in the fixed assets and the changes in financing. We have, you'll remember, 3 kinds of financing: short-term debt, long-term debt, equity. If short-term debt increases, then we have a positive cash flow. If long-term debt decreases, then we have a negative cash flow from the long-term debt. If paid in equity decreases through an equity repurchase, then we have a negative cash flow. So all of these together account for the change in cash.